Our third and final spotlight for today is on intelligence for human well being. To present it, I'm really delighted to welcome Anand Mallipudi, founder of Splink Pro AI. Splink uses a smartphone camera to read how a child moves and develops across cognition, nutrition, and physical activity, and then turns this data into personalized insights for parents and schools. It's an effort to make high quality developmental guidance available to many, many more children and families. With that, I'd like to welcome Anand.
I think this has been a while since I've been up on a podium and trying to speak something sensible. And again, in front of academics at that. I hope I'm not being graded on this. When Pawan asked me to speak, I was wondering what the hell is he thinking about? Neither am I a techie, not an AI guru, nor an academic. So, and especially with questionable behavior, I guess. I guess that's what attracted him to me. So, so bear with me for, I tend to ramble. So you guys have to try to connect the dots and try to understand what the hell I'm trying to say. But I'll try to put something together. Hopefully, you guys can follow the dots and kind of understand the journey that I've been through. Well, one of the things, you know, that always got me into trouble was curiosity. Curiosity has always been a very expensive uh, element in my life, I would say. Most people, when they have a midlife crisis, go buy a sports car. I ended up buying a Croatian basketball team. Don't ask me how it happened, but it happened. Okay. Then I started, what I thought was a sports tech company. And somebody told me, AI is what's driving it. So again, accidents happen. Again, connecting the dots. Don't ask me how I got there. Okay. Looking back, the sports car probably would have been cheaper and more enjoyable. You know. Strange thing is, none of it felt strange at that time when I got into these things. It's like it was very perfectly rational to me. I thought I could, it was normal thing to do. But then my wife was always looking at me and saying, like, that's not how normal people react. Do stuff. And I guess that's why Pavan and me are friends too. Looking back, curiosity has been the making of for most of my decisions over the years. One question that was had an annoying habit of leading to another. And okay, so I got to use the slide. Yeah. Well, this is how my desk would look like. A basketball, a thesaurus maybe, some gadgetry around it, some old painting, stuff like that. Again, to a normal person, this doesn't make sense. For me, somehow, again, they connected the dots. Honestly, I wasn't always sure myself if, I was uh, actually trying to do one thing or multiple things. But it always led me to one question to the other, to the curiosity again. That was a thread. It was like I was pulling at a thread always. It just kept leading me to different things, different things. But then at the end, I realized they all connected in some weird way. I thought I was interested in sport. Then I thought I was interested in understanding sport through talent. Then talent wandered into development. Development wandered into behavior. I guess that's why I've been invited out here. And again, as most of you guys know, behavior refuses to stay put. I realized all these subjects are asking the same question in different languages. How does a human being become who they become? My wife would occasionally look at my desk, look at me, and quietly walk away. I think she assumed there was a plan. I, I am less certain. Curiosity almost never gives you answers, it keeps improving your questions. Like most of you guys, I mean, my age would, most of our growing up was due to rock music, right? One song that kind of always stuck in my head was the Logical song by Supertramp. And I don't mean Madonna. I heard it 100 times. This one line always stopped me. Please tell me who I am. And again, is that an identity crisis or is that uh, a cry for help? And this is what I think, most children grow up with. I couldn't get it out of my head. Maybe we've been asking children the wrong question all the years. We spend years asking them, what do you want to become? A doctor, engineer, athlete, entrepreneur. We almost never ask, who are you becoming? Well, you're trying to becoming all of those things. One is about destination, the other is about the journeys that they take. Somewhere along the way, Splink stopped feeling like a sports technology company. Sometimes it feels like an alter ego for me. It became my excuse to keep asking better questions. I realized behavioral change isn't about changing what people do, it's about understanding what they're becoming while they're doing it. I come to the uncomfortable conclusion most of us don't actually observe behavior. We label it. We call it lazy, disciplined, distracted, motivated, whatever. Labels are wonderfully efficient because they're easy. They also happen to be terrible at understanding people. Because behavior is rarely the story, it's usually the symptom. AI became interesting because it helped me ask, what haven't I noticed yet? That changed Splink also. We stopped asking who was talented. We started asking who was changing and how they were changing. Behavior is what we notice first, potential is what we often notice last. Somewhere along the journey, I realized something surprising. Splink wasn't becoming a sports company, it was becoming a question. We haven't, what haven't we noticed or who haven't we noticed? India doesn't have a shortage talent, it has a shortage of visibility. We don't have a shortage of systems that notice talent before confidence totally disappears. S- Somewhere in India, tonight there's a child doing something extraordinary. Not because nobody cares, because nobody noticed. We've spoken about the right to education, opportunity, play. What if AI also enables the right to be seen? Not deciding futures, helping us notice them sooner. This led us to what we coined as developmental memory. Not another report card, not another score, not another memory of becoming. Think about the last time you went for your school reunion. Nobody remembers the math test you took or what grade you got. You remember the movie you bunked for, what it took you to get there, who caught you, and what punishment you took, but nobody will remember the movie title at the end. That's what uh, developmental memory is about. Children don't grow like photographs; they grow like films. Every child has good days. Every child has bad days. Imagine we judge forever for just one of them. And that's what we tend to do when we look at report cards and what have you, all the scorecards that we keep. Adults won't accept that. Why should children? Behavior isn't a snapshot, it's a story. If you judge one frame, you miss the whole film. Curiosity always wandered, sometimes completely unexpected. It wandered into Panchkosha. That was the framework upon which we built this whole concept we call Splink. It was connecting the dots before we could understand that they were dots to be connected. Long before AI, people understood that human beings develop across multiple dimensions. AI didn't change that, it reminded me of that. Imagine discovering an age old philosophy using the most modern of technologies. Last few years, I've realized AI wasn't changing my answers, it was changing my behavior by changing my questions. Perhaps behavioral change isn't about changing people, perhaps it's about changing what we choose to notice. Again, somewhere in India, there's a child doing something extraordinary. Not on television, not in the stadium, not where the algorithms are already looking, just somewhere, waiting, not for permission, not for applause, simply to be noticed. Perhaps that's the greatest contribution AI will ever make, not replacing human intelligence, helping us recognize human potential before the world ends. Thank you.